An 8-pound USDA prime boneless rib roast in the Traeger Ranger portable pellet grill right now. All right, well, let's get it started right now. I have to turn the unit on. I'm going to cook this roast at 275 degrees. Now, it's 9:03, and I need this off of here by about 2:30. I have dry brined this overnight. It's been in the refrigerator all night, just like that, and it's been out of there for about 30 minutes right now. But what we got to do, I'm going to make sure I got my pellets ready, and I do. And I cooked one on here yesterday doing a test one, so I'm going to light it, then I'm going to wipe off that griddle just a little bit. What we got to do is set the temperature to 275 and press ignite. And we are off and running. As soon as that comes up to temp, we're going to get that on there. I'll be back. Okay, we are there. It's 9:30. I did slow down this preheat a little bit by opening that lid and cleaning off that grate. But just gonna right quick, I got 2 of my meter probes in so I can monitor it from my phone, and I've also got the probe in from the Traeger. But take my word, I'll be triple checking with my thermopen as I always do. So let's get this going. There it is, everything looks good. I'm gonna triple check right here, make sure everything looks good there. Bring this around. Whoops. Bring this around and set that right there. There's a little indentation that you're supposed to put this in. I'll get the lid back down. I'm even going to latch it and go wash this up, and I'll be back in a few hours. We'll see how it's looking. Okay, so right quick, I'm gonna drop in a video where I got this thing ready last night, just so you can see a little bit about the information on the roast itself. Okay, so I guess I've explained some of this out at the grill this morning, which this is the night before, and I have this cut down to 7 pounds and 15 ounces, really close to 8 pounds, and I did tear that tray. Now here's what I started with. It was a whole beef ribeye, boneless, USDA prime. There's the prime sticker, and it started out at 17.86 pounds. I cut a 6-pound roast off and cooked it last night on the Traeger. It did excellent. So this one is 7 pounds 15 ounces. I did trim this one a little bit more because I took off some of this fat. In fact, I took off that whole tail that was there. It was pretty much nothing but fat. But you can see the marbling is great and it's prime, so it should be. This is the factory edge. This is the edge I cut. And then you can also see this is a 4-bone roast and right at 8 pounds. So I'm about to spray it down with a little bit of ghee oil or butter taste. It has a butter taste. If you don't know what ghee is, it's a really good product, I think, for meats like this. And then I'm gonna put what I always put on beef, and that's pretty much salt and pepper. And I think that is really all it needs to be said. I'm gonna get it on there, get this in the refrigerator tonight where it'll kind of help dry out the surfaces and hopefully get a little better of a crust on it while we cook it tomorrow. So I'll see y'all back out there at the grill in the morning. Bye. Okay, so I wanted to step in right here and say that I kind of reluctantly didn't get a picture of the roast before I put it in the refrigerator after I put my dry brine on it, which my dry brine is nothing but sea salt and cracked black pepper. That's all I use. I mean, I got nothing against a lot of the things people put on prime rib, and it might be great. My point is, I did a test roast, the 6-pound test roast I did the night before. I didn't do the 8-hour dry brine in the refrigerator, and I could tell a difference. I'll say I think it is worth doing. And I just wanted to mention that. If you got the time, by all means do it. But I'm about to take you back to where we're really close to pulling it off the grill, and you're fixing to see how good it looks. I'll see y'all out there in just a second. Okay, it is pretty much 12:30, I would say. So 3 hours at 275, which I didn't change the temp. It's still set to 275. I don't know really how to show you that, but my internal temp is well, I can show you right there. That's where the grill's set to, 275. It's showing that it's 255 right now, and the probe is at 121. Now, my meter didn't track exactly that. It's quite a bit higher, but I think it's because of where I have it probed, especially that one. It's really high. This one's showing 123, so it's really close to that. But like I said, we're going to open it up right now and check the readings. I got to make sure everything's good on this camera, and I think it is. Everything looks good. So I did check this with a infrared a while ago. That one right there is like 150 degrees. This one right here, and I had heard it on another review, you can touch that one, but this one you'll want a glove on. But anyhow, we're fixing to see how it looks, and here we go. Oh, it looks really good. I'm going to pick y'all up and let y'all get a little better look. Right there it is, and I'm going to start probing it because it's going to cause that burner to go crazy trying to catch up with the temp. Let's see, I'm going to say the thickest point is probably about right here. I saw 124, 119. I am really close to being happy with that. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back down. I'm going to get everything ready. I got my aluminum foil. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to let it run just a few more minutes, and then we're going to transfer it here. Get it. I'm going to set it in a cold oven. I just set them in the oven without it being turned on, and that's how I store them. So I'll be back in a second. All right. So I'm about to pull it off. And I wanted to explain this. This grill came with this cast iron griddle, good heavy cast iron. And what I plan to do is I'm going to take this off, put it here, like I said, stick it in the oven for probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours to my gasket here. And like I said, I'm going to put it on here. Then, as we get closer to cooking or eating, some people here won't like red meat. I just know it from previous eatings with prime rib. I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to take this to 450, and then as I slice it, if someone wants it done a little more, they're going to walk out here and drop it on there. Now I intended, and I still hadn't ruled it out, but I was going to sear this roast after I pulled it off, but you saw it. I just don't think it needs it, and I doubt I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put this glove on just in case something goes bad and I have to grab something, and I'm going to take it off here. And there we go. And like I said, it really looks good. I'm impressed. So all I got to do now is, I think, press this to turn it off. Right there we go. And it'll count down a 5-minute timer right there. And then somewhere about 15 or 20 minutes before we eat, I'll come out, put this on, and get it to 450. But right now, I'm going to leave the thermometers in there so I can kind of watch the temp. And get this in that oven I was talking about. So, see y'all in a second. Okay, so one thing I did want to show you, or thought you might want to see, is there's how many pellets I used. And it looks to me like, now maybe not, but I would think it looks like you're going to have to open it every once in a while, say after 3 hours, and do that. But when you rake it down, you can see I used, I don't know, 1 inch of those pellets. But anyhow, now you know. It's time to cut this thing, and I do have a house full of people. There it is, after it's been in the oven. And I'm going to go over this a lot better, but I'm going to be able to show you exactly what it peaked out at during the 2-hour rest and how fast it felt. I think it's some really good information. But here is the 8-pound roast. I'm going to remove all the probes so I don't hit them with my knife. And then all I'm going to do is cut this in half, and then I'm going to slice it up for everybody that's in there that's been waiting to eat for a long time. And it has been, as a matter of fact, it's 2:41, so it's been about 2 hours. I'm going to cut it right down the middle just so y'all can see. And I have a feeling it is perfect, and it looks perfect to me. I'm going to get where I can see make sure you can see what I'm doing. Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. So like I said, I'll come back in a minute and try and, I don't even know if you can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm going to show you what it did in the 2 hours it rested and give you an idea of what it peaks out at, you know, after it's cooked for several hours. So be back in a little bit. See y'all. All right, right there's what it looks like cut up. And they're fixing to dig into it. So again, I can't brag on the Traeger anymore. And the flavor is excellent because it doesn't give it a real hard smoke flavor, just a light. And that's all you need with this type of food, if you ask me. Okay, so as promised, I'm going to try and give you an idea of what that 8-pound roast did during the resting period. And if you ask me, it's some very valuable information because it tells you exactly what it, from the time I pulled it out, where it peaked out at, what time it peaked out at, and then what it did in the 2 hours that I left it resting in that cold oven with the door closed. Now, I'm getting this information from this thing right here, which is the meter block. Now, and everybody, my subscribers are probably tired of hearing this, but I am not affiliated in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I pay for everything you see out of my pocket, and I'm not sponsored and unpaid by anybody. The only way I make money is y'all watch my videos, so we'll get off of that. Right here, if you see this is the chart or the graph that this meter records. It has two ways of getting temperature. One, right here, it gets it from where you have it in the roast. And then this end reads the chamber or the internal temp of whatever you're cooking in. Well, that green arrow is the chamber or whatever you're cooking in. And the red, I said arrow, I meant line. But that green line is the chamber or the internal of the Traeger grill, the inside temperature. Well, the red line is what the roast was doing. And I can show you a lot. Well, let me show you this first, and I'm going to try and go over this real quick because this is a little bit confusing. You got to understand now, this is what we're looking at on the green line. It was not exactly where Traeger reads it from, so it is a little different reading, well, understandably. Plus, this could be off a little bit. You know, I've never calibrated, I haven't calibrated these in a while. I've never calibrated this end of this one, but to get off of that, here is what the Traeger did, and this may be valuable to a lot of people. Right there is where I set it, the roast in the oven. And if you see that A, that's the ambient. That's the internal temp of the Traeger. So right here, it was 81 degrees. There's where I set it in, and it rocketed. That green line went straight up, hit 252, went all the way to 270, 271, 275. Again, though, now it's not reading in the same place the Traeger is, so it's going to be a discrepancy there. But I'm going to go real slow, and you'll be able to see about how much temp swing the Traeger had. And I agree, this might not be the best method on earth, but you kind of, if you watch that A number, and I hope if you rewind this and look at it a couple times, you'll be able to understand it. It's real simple to understand. You just got to understand some of the numbers. But you can see what the Traeger did. There is how much temperature swing the Traeger had. Well, now we're coming up on when I pulled it out. Okay, so like I said, the A is the ambient temperature. I is the internal temp of that roast, and T is the time. So I pulled it out with the roast at, say, 124. All right, right there's where I pulled it out. You can tell by the way the green line fell off because it hit cool air. All right, well, right there, the internal temp when I pulled it out of that roast was about, I'm going to say 127 by this device, which, as you know, the Traeger tracked a little different, and it was 122 by the Traeger. So about a 4 or 5 degree difference, but that's not my point. My point is right here. Once I pulled it out at, say, 127, all right, it went, and well, you got to look at this too. It was 3 hours, let's say 3 hours and 30 minutes. We'll put it at 3:30. So at 3:30, and it's really hard to do, takes two hands, I was at 128. Well, if you see that right there, that is the peak temp, internal temp of that meat. So at 3 hours and 30 minutes, it climbed and hit a rest. This is when it's resting now, and this is the carryover temp, as it's known as. It went all the way to 137. So somewhere around 8 or 9 degrees carryover temp, it did. And that was at 4 hours and 15 minutes. My point, and what I'm getting at, and this is the most important thing I think there is in this chart, 45 minutes is where that temp turned around. So while it rested, it gained, say, let's just say 10 degrees for general purposes. 10 degrees in 45 minutes, and then it started down. And we didn't eat it for 2 hours. All right, so let's watch what happened. Another hour and 15 minutes passed, and it hit internal temp of 130. So it lost 6 degrees is my point. 6 degrees in an hour and 15 minutes. So if you look at this, and I know this is confusing, but you can rewind this and study the numbers you just saw. But from here to here was roughly 2 hours. It peaked at 45 minutes with, say, a 10 degree carryover temp, and then the next hour and 15 minutes in a cold oven with a tint aluminum foil. Now, I didn't have it tight, just had it tinted. It lost 6 degrees. So 2 hours is my point, I guess. Nothing wrong with a 2 hour rest. You see what happened. It went, hit its maximum temp, dropped 6 degrees the next hour and so. So 2 hours to me worked really well. And I'll just say it, it was one of the best prime ribs I've ever ate. There was nothing wrong with it. Everybody here agreed it, and I'm about to show that because I walk around and my guests kind of comment on what they thought of it. But take my word, I've ate a lot of prime rib. We do it here quite often. It's one of the best things I think there is to cook for a crowd. I've never had one better than this one. A light hickory flavor. It was easy to do, all the above. 8 pounds now in the Traeger Ranger. And a lot of people say it's too small. Well, maybe so, but 8 pounds. I'm going to get off of this. I'm about to drop y'all in to where I walk around and speak with everybody. And plus, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of sign off with y'all right now. But hey, I love y'all all, and I promise you I do. I would love one of these thumbs up and a like, share, and subscribe if you don't mind. But the main thing is I love y'all all. Y'all come back to see me. Have a good night, and bye-bye. We're going to get a few comments on it. Eric's done about 8 all of his. He had 2 pieces, by the way. And there's RDL. He's got a chunk. Have you tried it yet?
Yes, it's great.
Excellent, huh?
Yes, sir.
Casey?
Mine's already gone.
Oh, Casey's already ate his. So far, we're down to that right there. But got a few in here trying it. Here's Rabbit, the infamous Rabbit. And then there's the world-renowned Jason Singleton sitting right there. If you ever heard of Ricky Skaggs or Sierra Hull, Dr. Charles Stanley, he does all their audio. What do you think, J-Bo? Tell it.
That's as good as any steak.
And so what now?
That's as good as any steak.
It is, ain't it? It's hard to beat that. It's got a light, I still say a light hickory flavor that works. But anyhow, they're doing fine with it, looks like. Gary, did you get some? Good? All right. What do you think, Cody?
Looks like a speckled trout belly.
Is that
beautiful?
A speckled trout belly? Never heard it called that, but. And I also made some horseradish dip. Of course, I got that recipe off of All Recipes like I always do. It's good too? All right. Well, that's All Recipes. I do a little bit to it, but not a lot. And here's the rest of them in here. Woo!
Party's not over.
The party's not over.
Party's not
That's
over.
what your boy said.
What was the party?
Anyhow, now y'all see about what I'm talking about on a Sunday here? It gets pretty crowded sometimes, and the Traeger will be getting used, there's no doubt, along with my air fryers, of course, and all the other stuff I use. But anyhow, there it is one more time. Not bad at all. All right, everybody get lined up, and I'll get us in a frame.